is Gangstalking Down Under, and I'm just sort of gonna talk about a few things that I've sort of worked out or come close to working out. Now, don't sort of hold everything I say as 100% facts. Nothing is 100% facts until there's documents that have been provided and evidence. But also in saying that, I've taken some time now and researched the hell out of what I'm going through and what other people have gone through. Okay, so I do know a little bit about a little bit, but allow me to say one thing. The drugs are sort of wearing off me. As you know, most targeted individuals are drugged to stop them from talking or to limit their brain capacity, to limit them. You feel like your brain's clouded, you can't form any critical thinking. In terms of a chess player, I used to be able to think 5 moves ahead. Now I'm only able to think 3. So that's just a rough estimate of how much they've dulled my brain down with the drugs, but it is lifting slowly off me. And I'm starting to be able to form words now and express what's on my mind without stumbling over them, which may still happen, but not as periodically as before. Okay, now I've dubbed this program How to Kill a Mockingbird. Okay, now I'm not saying that I'm the only person in these programs in Australia or worldwide. There's plenty of people, and you could be putting them for anything. Any little thing doesn't make you a special person, doesn't make you a messenger to the human race or to God's people or whatnot, as most of the perps are trying to sort of endorse that thought in me. No, all human beings have a purpose, regardless. Some people are awake to that and some people aren't. A lot of people believe that they've got to go somewhere to be awake or to find whatever it is that they're searching for. But in reality, all you gotta do is come back to consciousness. That's it. You don't have to go anywhere. You could actually come back to consciousness and everything just starts falling in place. You start remembering everything. But you also gotta sort of look at the social conditioning that's been fed to us ever since we were little bubs. And that is probably the hardest thing that a human being has to do. And you'll be probably fighting this conditioning for the rest of your life. As long as you're born in the system and you've been conditioned, there's always going to be momentary spurts where you're fighting between your brain, between the conditioning and your free thought. What's actually your thoughts naturally derived from yourself, not what's been implanted in you. A bit like fashion. People dress according to what's in. What's in the magazines and what's on TV and all that. That's not really their own identity. That's not really their own choice of clothing. They're going with the current. They're going with the mainstream. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm just saying, it's always better to have your own sense of identity and your own choices that are self-derived. Okay, moving along now. These program that you're in as a target individual, I'll let you know what some of the things that you can go through, because this is what I've gone through. I've had seizures where I've almost become possessed in the entire classroom. When I was at TAFE, entire classroom of students couldn't hold me down. I became very violent. And I don't really know much about what happened at that point because no one's spoken about it, no one told me. I was just treated differently after that point. On the way to Thailand, I was circled on the aeroplane, and they tried to usher me, the staff tried to usher me behind the curtains where they bring out the food from and whatnot. And I declined. I said, no, I don't want to do that. And they sort of leaned over and grabbed me by my clothes and went to pull me up. And I just said, hey, don't touch me. And I pushed them all off me. And to cut a long story short, there was an air marshal on the aeroplane, and he jumped up and he said, mate, I'm Australian like you, so settle down. And so I did settle down once I heard an Australian accent. But I was also concerned that why is there a bloke sort of sitting behind me with a pistol on his waist? Alright, so they detained me at Singapore airport and they were trying to find something to sort of pin on me. And then they ended up bringing a cigarette butt and a little evidence bag and saying, "Oh, you were smoking on the aeroplane." And I said, "No, I wasn't." And they said, "Yeah, you were. That's your cigarette butt." And I said, "No, it's not." And I pulled out my cigarette packet, because you're only allowed one packet on the planes these days. And I compared the serial code on my cigarettes compared to the serial code on the butt that they found. And I said, "Look, it's completely different. It's on the same brand. It's an Australian tobacco, Winfield, but it's not from my packet. It's from another packet." I go, "Just because I'm Australian on the aeroplane and I've got Australian cigarettes, it doesn't mean I'm the only Australian on that plane with Australian cigarettes. That plane came from Australia, from Sydney Airport. So of course it's going to have people with Australian cigarettes on it. You can't. It's not really good evidence. It's shit." And to top it off, they had machine guns, and at first I thought they were military, but then I realised that they were coppers. They told me they were coppers, but they look like the military. And I told the guy, I go, "Just get that gun out of my face, please," because it was sort of not pointing it at me, but holding it sort of in my direction, and I didn't trust him. I didn't trust his trigger-happy fingers. Anything could have happened behind those doors. And to top it off, they were trying to take my passport off me, and then they were trying to, they didn't let me speak to my Australian consulate. They weren't allowing me to. They gave me the address for the Australian embassy. They wrote it down on a little ripped off piece of paper in the smallest writing. And I said, "Okay, how do I get there?" And they said, "Well, you can get in a taxi and ask for directions and they'll take you. But you're not allowed outside these doors because you don't have a visa." I'm like, "Then why are you giving me the details to the embassy if I can't leave the airport? So what am I supposed to do? Just linger around?" I go, "No, this is my rights. I want to speak to my Australian consulate. I want to speak to my Australian embassy so I know what my rights are and what I can and can't do." So I had to stay there for a night. I ended up missing my flight and I had to buy another aeroplane ticket. And I got to speak to my Australian consulate the next day, and they told me, "Don't give him your passport, just stay very calm because you're not in Australia. You know that you're not in Australia and you can't act the way you act in Australia." And I said, "Okay, fair enough." So I behaved myself and I stopped being cheeky. And I jumped on the plane, arrived at Thailand, waited for some of my luggage to arrive because I wasn't allowed to take it on the plane with me, perfumes and stuff, and never arrived. So I didn't bother chasing that up. But that's how it happened. To top it off, I was riding a scooter in Thailand, in Phuket, and I was run over by a van. Luckily, nothing happened to me. So it was good. And when I went out into the bush, into the sort of the rural parts of Phuket for a scooter ride 6 hours away from Patong, I felt very different. I felt a lot stronger physically, so I'm guessing that they were blasting me with radiation in the cities. And when I went to the bush area, I could no longer feel it because they weren't around. They weren't blasting me with it. So I did feel very good. So yeah, back in Australia, I've been chased around with guns, with knives. Yeah, this large social group of people, this large network, this large cabal of people that are assigned to all sort of synchronize their harassments towards, they always work together. It's on a very, very large scale of people, and they're just assigned to pick away at your belongings. And you've probably seen my previous videos if you're watching this one, and I do explain what they do get up to when they come into your house. I'm not going to go through that now. But yeah, it's just a very, very large network, and it's not limited to just Australia. This will follow you overseas. It will follow you wherever you go. If there's a record of you going anywhere, they get to you. They know where you're going. They're onto it. So my theories and my questionings, and just sort of curious to know as well. There's a lot of question marks in all my theories and all my questions, and in everything. It's just it's a very deceitful plan, a very deceitful program, and this is what it's aimed at doing, is to keep you, the victim, confused and not knowing what to do, what to think, how to think. And if you do get past that, you're a bit of a threat to them, because you can make videos and ramble incessantly about certain thoughts and certain experiences that you've had, but there may be meaningless fucking gibberish that's coming out of most of the target individuals' mouths. But if there is a person that's watching with at least half a brain, they will pick through all the gibberish, and there's a few things in there that are just logical and realistic and very sane of a person to say. So I guess this is what they're worried about, because you are a fractured human being. You are only half the human being you're capable of being. Is what the position they put you in. But yeah, this large bloody cabal of people enjoy doing what they're doing and get paid for it. And I don't care what people say, that they're brainwashed and they don't know what they're doing. Yeah, there may be some people coerced into doing it, prompted into doing things that they're not aware that they're doing. But you can't tell me that you can condition someone enough that they don't know that they're following you around. Literally, walking everywhere you walk. You can't tell me that someone's not going to fucking register that they've been following the same fucking person for about half an hour. You can't tell me that. You can't tell me that. Okay, they may sort of get someone to walk in the same path that you're walking on, so you can constantly bump into them and see them, and the other person doesn't know and thinks you're doing the same to them. That's very possible. But other than that, I don't see it happening like some of the videos talk about on YouTube, and some of the, I think it's misinformation. So yeah, I'll try and make another video, because as you can tell, the videos that I talk about, these shadow people, this shadow police, this shadow government that sort of come in after us in the dark, not through the law. Now you can see in my videos, I should say, how many video views I've got in some videos as opposed to others. That should be a clear indicator that what I'm talking about in that video has got some sort of relativity and some sort of logic to it. Otherwise it wouldn't have been watched that many times by, I think it's the people that are involved in this, and some of the people that are responsible for this. It's a very huge network. I mean, it's fucking huge. It goes through council workers, through police, I should say, I'm telling you, because this is what I've experienced. I'm not saying all police, security guards, workers' unions, if I haven't said that already, political groups, religious groups. I mean, it's huge. It's huge, and I don't think that the people that are involved, or somewhere all the way down the bottom, don't really see the bigger network. They don't really know that they're part of this huge network. Or maybe they do, I don't know. Maybe because I'm not a part of it, I don't know. But it's fucking huge. There's just so many people involved, and just wondering, why would they go through that much effort for one person or for a group of people? It makes me just question constantly why. Can you hear the fence behind me? Yeah, that's right. The lady hoses the fucking fence. She's been hosing it now for about, this video's gone for 13 minutes. She was doing it for about 15 minutes prior to that. Coincidentally, it always happens when I'm making videos or trying to sleep. But listen, she's going at it. Hey, she stopped. Anyways, people, I had to re-record that video off another camera because they've corrupted that video on the phone that I was using.